Rahim Nahmadu wa nusalli ala Rasul al-Kareem. Quite a bit of explanation in this particular um, text. Let's read it first. Let's look what they're saying in the Kitab. I remember your first point is to translate, then to understand what they're saying, and from there we can give our extra bits from our side. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وليس للحائض والجنوب والنفساء قراءة القرآن. So it is not, I tell you, Laysa, it is not permissible. للحائض, for the woman that is experiencing a menses. والجنوب, that person who needs a faraz ghusl. والنفساء, nufasa means that lady experiencing post, nifas in English, you call it postnatal bleeding, the bleeding she experiences after childbirth. I think they also say Lochia, Lochia, right? قراءة القرآن. She cannot recite the Quran. لقوله, because of the statement of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, لا تقرأ الحائض ولا الجنوب شيئا من القرآن. That the lady in menses and neither the person in Janabat will read the Quran. So this is ikhbar. Ne? Ikhbar sometimes comes in the meaning of insha. Like I say, I tell you, you will not go, you will not be absent tomorrow. It means don't be absent. So ikhbar comes in the meaning of insha, right? So لا تقرأ الحيض والجنوب شيئا من القرآن, right? وهو حجة على مالك. So this is so just as it's okay, first we need to understand what he's saying here. What he's saying is that look here, once a person is in Haidh or a person Janabat means we're male or female, we know that like husband wife relationships or in Zal, the wet dream, whatever, you cannot read anything of the Quran, right? So and the proof لا تقوى حيض والجنوب شيء من القرآن. Now next part وهو حجة على مالك في الحيض. Imam Malik says a woman that is in Haidh, a woman that's experiencing Haidh, she can read the Quran, but she can't touch the Quran. So why she can read? Um, okay, firstly, why she can't touch? Because the verse is clear. لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. None will touch the Quran except those that are clean and that are pure. So that's why Imam Malik also practiced upon that verse, and he says that she can read but not touch, right? وَحُجٌّ عَلَى مَالِكٍ فِي الْحَيْضِ, right? Our answer, what's our answer? We say, وَهُوَ بِإِطْلَاقِهِ يَتَنَاوَلُ مَا دُونَ الْآيَةِ فَيَكُونُ حُجَّةً عَلى الطَّحَاوِي, right? So, first thing is, we say, look here, the hadith is very, very clear. لا تقرأ الحائض والجنوب شيئا من القرآن. That the person in Hayd and Janabat will not touch the Quran, so will not read the Quran. So if you can say that the Haida can read the Quran based on necessity or any other reason, you are going against a clear, emphatic hadith. You understand what I'm saying? So we're saying what we're saying in simple words, it is not rocket science. It's not something complicated. It's not something difficult. We say it's pretty simple. It is pretty simple. That the hadith is clear, 100% clear. This is clear. Everybody can hear. Right. So we're saying, look here, the hadith is clear that a haida cannot read. So you cannot come with any type of ta'wil. You are going against the clear text. That's what you're saying. And it's general also. And so, wa bi'itlaqihi. Does this hadith, sorry, ma, in its generality, yatanawalu, it includes what's lesser in the ayat. So in its generality, it's a proof against Imam Malik. And it's a proof against Imam Tahawi. Imam Tahawi is also a Imam in the Hanafi madhab. He is also very, very high ranking, maybe one or two stages below Imam Abu Hanifa. Maybe just one stage, I can't remember, or two stages Imam beneath Imam Muhammad. So what his opinion was, his opinion is if it's lesser than a verse, then you can read it, right? If it's lesser than a verse, then you can read it. So we say no. That look here, the hadith is clear. Whether it is a verse, whether it is lesser than a verse, you can't read. So we practice on the generality of the hadith, right? Okay, so that is the text. I hope the text is clear. You understood what the text is. The text is whether it is you can't read, you can't touch. I gave you Imam Malik's proof for saying you can't touch, and proof of everyone, la yamassul mutahharun. And then I gave you um, his reasoning for saying that you can read. He says that there's a necessity sometimes to read, and Haidh is not something that you can remove. If you're in Janabat, you can just have a bath and then you can read the Quran. But this is something which is daimi, so it's born out of necessity. So then you can read, etc. Are you with me? And then Imam Tahawi says that look here, you can read Quran so long as it's lesser than the ayat, because the ayat is not considered Quran, right? So that is what is in the kitab. The right. The thing I want to tell you is, so here, as Imam Malik says that you can read, right? Now, what the point I want to make to you is this, that in Cape Town recently, or not so recently, a while back, some of the ulama they said that the Shafi girls, even if they're not Maliki, they can, if they're doing hifz, then born out of necessity, they can read the Quran, but they must not touch the Quran. So they're doing hifz. If obviously sometimes some ladies, girls, whatever, they bleed for a full 10 days, so there is necessity for them to uh, read. And I told you recently in PE, some of the madrasas that or madaris or the hifz madaris that is in the control of the Shafis, they also gave this concession, right? So this is now creating some type of confusion. Now the Hanafis, maybe there's Hanafi girls in the Shafi madrasa, and the Shafi madrasa is practicing on the Maliki madhab, right? So now they are confused. Two, three things I want to say from my side. The first thing I want to say is we can't answer for the Shafi madhab because we don't know what the conditions in the Shafi madhab is to adopt from another madhab. Maybe it is in their madhab that they can, the conditions of adopting from another madhab are not so stringent, so they can adopt from another madhab. But in the Hanafi madhab, we don't simply adopt from another madhab. There are very, very stringent conditions, and which is now a different discussion that look, you don't simply borrow from another madhab willy-nilly, because that will create, it's called talfiq. When you want to practice on this madhab, you practice on this madhab. When you practice on that madhab, eventually what will happen? You will be looking for concessions in all the madhahib. You'll be practicing on the concession this madhab. You'll be practicing on the concession that madhab. You'll be practicing on the concession that madhab. I told you before, Imam al-Hazm al-Zahiri, he said when you go see a girl for a proposal, you can even see her thighs. Now you want to take that thing from there, you want to take that from there. At the end of the day, what are you doing? You are following your nafs. So as far as possible, you say practice upon your madhab. Right. Only when there is a real need, then the ulama come together and they make a joint decision and they say, now we're going to take it from a different madhab. And the classical example of this is what I want to discuss with you people and I want to share with you people also one day. But this also comes more in Kitabun Nikah. Like, if a woman is being abused by a husband and the husband don't want to give talaq, then normally she'll go to the qazi and the qazi will annul the marriage. But many of us, we are Muslim minorities. We don't have Islamic courts. So this is a classical example of where Maulana Ashraf Ali Tanwi, he borrowed from the Maliki mazhab. And what he borrowed from the Maliki mazhab is that the ulama body, or forget about the ulama, even a group of seniors, they can become the qazi in this they can say that this woman is being abused, her rights is not being fulfilled, her sexual rights is not being fulfilled, her financial rights are not being fulfilled, or she's being beaten, whatever, then they can act like a qazi and they can nullify the marriage. They can say a nullify. In Arabic, you say they can make fasakh of the marriage. So strictly speaking, the Hanafi madhab, fasakh is only done by a qazi. A group of ulama can't do it, but this has been borrowed from the Maliki madhab. So, as I told you, you only do this borrowing from a different madhab where there is a group of ulama and they look into the circumstances and they agree and they find a strong necessity for it. Then you borrow from another madhab. So the reason why I want to mention all of that, I want to show you is that we won't just borrow from the Maliki madhab and say now that the girl that is in the haze, the young girl is in the haze, and she's got the menses, now she can start reading the Quran, because there isn't that strong necessity. Ulama have given ways that you can overcome this. Firstly, if a girl is doing use, right, and she's out, what can she do? One of the things, it's not haram for her to listen to the Quran. It is not haram. She can listen. So she can listen to a cassette. She can say someone else to read for her. So one is you get a cassette, you listen to a cassette, or maybe sorry, not cassette. Nowadays you have all digital recording, electrical recording. So you listen to somebody reading. That's one. The second thing, remember, you can open the Quran so long as you not touch it directly. In fact, in the next few pages, there's going to come some details about that, in Halatage and Abad to touch the Quran. I'll do it. And I also want to share with you the model, the contemporary Masail about touching a screen, etc. Without to do that, I will touch. I'll share with you when we come to that as well. Question, I think, what is saying? Yes, this person is saying exactly what I wanted to say now. The next thing I was saying, one is this here, that one is you listen. The other one is you read without mouthing the words. You read, ask the Hufaz how to do this. The guys that did it, they work in Ramadan. How when they wait for their turn, how they mouthing the words in their mind. So that was Jazakallah. That was also one of the listeners here telling us you read in your mouth. So what does read in your mind? Just a simple, you read without your tongue moving. That's simple. Or you can say you read without mouthing your words. So there are alternatives. And so in the first place, we can take it one step back. Is to become a hafiza a necessity? It's not faraz, it's not wajib. So listen, follow my train of thought. I'm giving you from the Hanafi madhab. I can't speak to you from the other madhab, but I'm giving you purely from a Hanafi madhab. Look here, is to become a hafiza, is it faraz? Is it wajib? Is it sunnat muakkada? Is none of that. Is most we can say is maybe mustahab or whatever, right? So will you commit a haram action just to do a mustahab act? Are you with me? Because it is clearly haram in the Hanafi madhab. It's clearly haram in all three madhabs. Shafi madhab, Hanafi madhab, Hanbali madhab. It is haram to recite the Quran when you're in Haidh. It's mustahab to become a hafiza. So why will you commit a haram to enact a mustahab? Are you with me? You're following with me? So so we'll take it one step back. We say, is it like I told you now, where there's a fear, Mawlana Ashraf Ali Thani was saying in India, women were becoming murtad. They were trapped in marriages where the husband was not fulfilling their right financially, sexually, emotionally, whatever. And they were becoming murtad. They were saying, what type of Islam is this? That our rights are not fulfilled, that when we are being abused, we can. So that's where he adopted that whole concept. I want to do that with you. I done it with Bilal. One day I'll do that whole thing, that Hilatun Najiza, to make easy for the ladies when they are trapped in abusive marriages and the husband refuses. When the husband disappears nowadays, our ladies, they marry overseas and that guys, they go, oh, you all, they don't give the talaq. So there is. So I was telling you, in our Hanafi madhab, strictly, you need a qazi to break that marriage. You need a qazi. So that's very difficult to conduct the madhab. So yeah, Mawlana Ashraf Ali Than with a group of ulama, they adopted this whole concept from the Maliki madhab, that a group of ulama, or not even a group of elders, even if they're non-ulama, they can come together and they can act like a qazi and they can nullify the marriage. So why am you think now this is a high, this is the highest, why I'm speaking about this? The reason I'm speaking about this, I want to show you there was a strong necessity. Women were becoming murtad because they were being abused. Like I told you, there's no urgent need. First, in the first place, it's not even for us to become a hafidah. And secondly, even if a person did become a hafidah, right? If a person, then I tell you, or she needs to do a revision of her door, whatever, there are ways which she can do the revision. She can listen to somebody reciting. She can she can uh, she can recite in her mind, etc. Then for the abas that attaching the madrasa, there's another thing called taqti'. What taqti' is? You recite small snippets of the Quran, but not that much that when a person hears it, you think it's the Quran. You understand what I'm saying? So simple words, like you want to teach, like how the Appa teaches, Alhamdulillah. And this is also good for a Hifz Ustad. If a Hifz Ustad is out, it doesn't mean she can't listen because she's just going to correct. You know what I'm saying? So long as she don't touch the Quran. So somebody makes a mistake, you say, ihdina sirata, like that. So that's fine also. So there are ways out. Okay, so that was yeah. So okay, that was the one thing that I wanted to expand and share with you. The next thing I wanted to expand and share with you is this here. So I told you there, none of the Hanif Ummah gives permission that the ladies can read, because a lot of people here in PE now, they're saying here, this madrasa here, the Shafi girls are reading Hanafi, what must we do? In fact, I told you I'm in a Muftis group here, and most of these Muftis are from North America and from UK. So now in North America, we were lucky, we were sheltered in South Africa, like in Durban, Joburg, you only had more or less Hanafis, right? We got Hanafi Shafi, Cape Town, we got Hanafi Shafi. I remember when we were in school, we had a teacher. She was from Durban. First time she heard about a Shafi, she said, tell me, what is the Shafi thing about? I know there's only one religion. First time I hear about a Shafi, maybe one of the students told me, we Shafi, this is Alifi. She said, now tell me, what is a Shafi? I don't know what is a Shafi thing. Isn't like Islam is one or something like that? Because she was from Durban, there was no Shafis in Durban, first interaction. So here in P, we have a bit of Shafi, Hanafi. In Cape Town, you have mostly Shafi, Hanafi. So in Joburg, in Durban. But now in North America, they were discussing, they have everything. They have Hanafi, Shafi, Maliki, Hanbali, Zahiri, Shia, everything. So they were discussing this on the Mufti chair. The one of the Mufti was saying, look here, we got a Maliki girl, this is doing hifz, and this is causing a lot of confusion. What do we do? Do we tell her, do we tell her that she can read, and if you're going to tell her to read, what's going to happen to Hanafi girls? Hanafi girls going to say, why she's reading and we can't read, etc., etc. So they were discussing. Actually, I wanted to go back to the discussion and see what was the end result of the discussion. But there's also another in the Hanafi madhab. They say it goes like this. Something I say I can't remember. Like those al amila madhhab lahum. That if somebody comes to you, and this person knows nothing about mazhabs. He doesn't know. I'm a Shafi, for example, right? But he don't know the difference. He's non-practicing, and you are Hanafi, and he give you ask you must Al-Ami la madhaba lahum. Al-Ami la madhalam. So one of the suggestions was that if this girl is not a practicing Maliki, then just tell her to practice upon the Hanafi madhab. Don't confuse the rest of the people. Otherwise, you have to sit him down and explain, okay, there's a Maliki, she can read, and you people can't read, etc. But I want to go back to the discussion. Next, I was looking for it and see what was the end result. And then they also, while we were discussing that, then one mufti said he was studying in Azadville, and one of the ustads from Azazul mentioned to them that, whenever I go to the Haramain Sharifain, because I got the beard and the turban, people think I'm a scholar. So they come and they ask me maslas. So I don't ask him what madhab are you Maliki or you Shafi. I just answer them according to Hanafi madhab, because they don't know themselves what they are. So you'll be shocked, you'll be shocked if you go to the Haramain Sharifain, you will be shocked at the amount of ignorance there is there. We must make so much shukr. We living in South Africa, those living in the UK, that we got the maktab system, that everybody at least know the basics. Everybody at least know the basics. You will be shocked if you go to these places to see how much jahal there is, how much ignorance there is. Just to give you a simple example to understand what I'm telling you, how much shukr we make. When we were entering Medina, we had a taxi driver by little girls, the twins, they were reading Surah Yasin. So the driver living in Saudi, he asked, what are they reading? What are they saying? Reading Surah Yasin. This man is a Muslim living in a Muslim country, and he lives close to Medina. He said, what are they reciting? He doesn't know what they're reciting, but he's reciting Surah Yasin. How much shukr we must make for the systems we have in our place. But anyway, so I was telling you, so this guy says that the ustaz say, no, I just give them the fatwa according to the other madhab. I don't know the other madhab. And they themselves don't know what madhab they are. So I just answer them. So maybe if in this circumstances, you just say, if the person is now like a strong on his madhab and he's practicing madhab and he knows his madhab, then, but otherwise, if he doesn't know what he's going or coming himself, then you just give him a fatwa according to the Arabi madhab, right? Or if you are Shafi, you give him a fatwa according to the Shafi madhab. There's the next thing I wanted to discuss with you with this. The second thing, the third thing, so on this ibarat here, which I want to share with you now, most of you must have come across this here now already, that verses of the Quran that has the meaning of a dua, that you can also recite it, but you must not recite it with the intention of reciting the Quran, right? Are you with me? So here, like you see, if you look at the surah, look at Kul A'udhu bi Rabbin Nas. I seek protection in the Lord of the worlds. Kul a'udhu bi rabbil falq. I seek protection in the Lord of the right of the dawn, whatever, right? So there's two things here. Uh, one is the verse actually gives the meaning of a dua. And one is the verse doesn't give the meaning of dua, but it is recited as a dua for protection. I hope you understand the difference. To understand the difference, like look at look at look at Qul ya ayyuhal kafirun. It doesn't have the meaning of a dua. Qul ya ayyuhal kafirun la a'budu ma ta'budun wa la antum abiduna ma'bud. Doesn't have the meaning of a dua. Look at Qul huwallahu ahad. It doesn't have the meaning of dua. Am I right or wrong? So now you need to research this thing a bit more, but I'm just telling you what I say. Some ulama like Mufti Siraji of P, you know him. He says you can't recite Kul Ya Ayyuhal Kafirun and Kul Wallahu Ahad, even if you are out, even if you make intention of a dua, because it does not have the meaning of a dua. It does not. So he said you can recite Kul A'udhu bi Rabbil Falaq and you can recite Kul A'udhu Nas because it has the meaning of a dua. You understand what I'm saying? You understood? But I was just checking now. The other ulama say even if the thing is doesn't have the meaning of dua, but generally it is recited for protection, then you can also a Haidh can also recite it. You saw the difference. So now a lot of time people ask this question here also. You know the manzil. The manzil are those few verses that has been compiled. Maybe offline. Right. So Ayatul Kursi also. Now, if you look at the Ayatul Kursi, it doesn't have the meaning of dua, but it's received protection. So I was just checking now on the website. I was checking now here earlier. Ask Imam Mufti, my Ustad Marhum Mufti Ibrahim Desai, and Mufti online also. Like you like the manzil, all those which is proven also from the hadith, even though it does not have the meaning of a dua, but is generally cited as a dua, that's fine. That's fine. It's still okay. So we can go, but okay, time is up. We'll stop there, but we'll discuss a bit more of this tomorrow. But many of the ulama, they say, even though it does not have the meaning of dua, but generally it is recited for protection, then with the intention that you can recite protection, you can. So that means you can recite the rest of the manzil, sabbih isma, etc., etc. Okay, we'll stop there. We'll continue more tomorrow, inshallah. But subhanallah, bihamdi, subhanakallah, bihamdika, wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.